In the deep space of the galaxy, there was a massive place known as the Galactic Meeting Hall, a structure built between stars, floating in silent dark space, where many alien species gathered to discuss peace, war, trade, and survival. This place had existed for thousands of years, and every major decision of the galaxy was made here under strict rules of the Galactic Council for a long time. One name had been removed from all records, erased from maps, deleted from history files, and forgotten by most living species. That name was humans. 1,000 years ago, humans were declared extinct after the Great Silence War, a conflict so destructive that entire star systems vanished without trace. The Council had confirmed it, scanned every colony, searched every hidden planet, and finally marked humanity as gone forever. Now the galaxy believed humans were only a myth, a dangerous memory of a violent ancient race. On this day, the Galactic Meeting Hall was full again. Thousands of alien delegates from different worlds were present, each sitting in their assigned glowing stations, speaking in different tones and languages that merged into a soft, chaotic hum across the hall. The atmosphere was calm, but serious because a new crisis had begun in the outer sectors. Unknown ships had been detected near restricted space lanes. Suddenly, the entire hall shifted into alert mode when the deep space security system detected an unidentified vessel entering the sacred meeting zone without permission. All conversations stopped immediately. The massive central hologram activated and showed a single ship moving slowly through the dark void. It was not large compared to war fleets, but its design was completely unknown. It had no recognized energy signature and no known origin code. Alien commanders began analyzing it quickly. Some suggested it was a scout ship. Others believed it was a trap sent by an unknown species. The ship moved closer without stopping, ignoring all warning signals sent by the Council defense system. Then something even stranger happened. The ship responded with a signal that matched no known language in the entire galactic database. Yet it carried structure, rhythm, and meaning. The Council translation system struggled for a moment, then slowly began decoding it. The message was short and strange. "We are here." The hall erupted in confusion. Some species demanded immediate destruction of the ship. Others called for silence and observation. At the center of the hall, the High Council leader raised a signal for silence, and the entire chamber slowly calmed down again. The unknown ship entered docking range and stopped exactly at the central arrival gate, a place reserved only for official diplomatic fleets of the highest rank. No one could understand how it bypassed every security barrier without triggering full defense response. A heavy silence filled the hall as the docking clamps activated automatically. Even the machines seemed uncertain, but still obeyed unknown protocols. The air inside the hall felt heavier, as if something important was about to happen. Something that had not happened in 1,000 years. Then the arrival gate opened slowly. Bright white light spilled into the hall, and every alien delegate leaned forward to see what was coming out. First there was only silence, then footsteps were heard, slow, steady, controlled steps echoed through the docking corridor. A shape appeared in the light. It was humanoid. Tall figures wearing simple dark suits with no royal symbols. No military flags, no visible rank markings. The aliens in the hall froze instantly because their systems began flashing alerts across every screen. Historical match found species classification, human status extinct, verification age 1,000 years. Shock spread like fire across the hall. Some delegates stepped back in fear while others refused to believe what they were seeing. A species that should not exist was standing inside their most protected location. The lead human stepped forward slowly and looked at the endless crowd of alien species watching in silence. No weapons were raised from the human side. No aggressive movement was shown, only calm presence and steady breathing. The human spoke in a simple, clear voice that echoed through the hall. "Translation systems, we received your message across the old signal network." The council leader stood up with visible disbelief and asked in a shaking voice how this was possible since humans were declared extinct 1,000 years ago. After complete galactic verification, the human did not answer immediately. Instead, it looked around the hall, as if observing old memories buried deep in time. Then the human finally spoke again in the same calm tone. "We were not gone. We were only waiting." At that moment, every alien in the hall understood. One thing clearly: history was wrong or something. Impossible had just returned from the past. The galactic meeting hall stayed silent after the first human words. "We were not gone, we were only waiting." No alien in the hall could move for a few seconds, as if time itself had slowed down inside the giant structure floating between stars. Security systems kept scanning the human group again and again, but every result was the same. Species confirmed, human status extinct. No update found in 1,000 years. The council leader slowly stepped forward from the central platform. His voice was controlled but full of confusion and fear. If humans were truly alive, then all galactic history was wrong. And if history was wrong, then something far worse had been hidden from everyone. The human leader looked at the council with calm eyes, as if this moment was expected long ago. Then he began to speak. "A long time ago, before the galaxy became peaceful, there was a war that was never fully recorded." The alien delegates leaned closer because their archives showed only fragments of that event. It was called the Forgotten War, a war so large that entire regions of space were erased from normal mapping systems. The human voice remained steady as he continued. "Humans did not disappear by accident. We were not destroyed in battle. We were removed from history on purpose." A wave of shock moved through the hall. The council systems quickly searched all historical data, but most files were corrupted or missing, as if someone had deliberately erased them. The human stepped forward. One more step. During the Forgotten War, an unknown force entered the galaxy. It was not a normal enemy species. It did not fight like empires. It did not invade like armies. It simply erased anything that reached understanding of it. Entire civilizations vanished after learning too much. Even the Galactic Council at that time tried to stop it, but failed. The aliens in the hall started to feel uncomfortable as the story continued, because every word made the galaxy feel smaller and more dangerous. The human paused for a moment, then continued. "Humans were different. When we found out about the enemy, we did not surrender, and we did not run. We studied it." The hall reacted immediately. Several alien species shouted warnings because studying such a force meant death according to ancient records. The human raised a hand slightly, and the hall became quiet again. Yes, it was dangerous, but humans kept studying. Because fear alone was not enough to survive, then something changed. The enemy noticed. US, for the first time in known history, something that erased civilizations, looked directly at humanity. The human voice became lower as he continued. "That was when the decision was made by humanity. We could either stay and be erased like others, or we could leave the galaxy completely." A silent wave of tension spread through the hall. The council leader asked slowly, "Leave the galaxy?" The human nodded. "We built passage routes beyond mapped space. We crossed regions no species had ever survived. And we hid beyond the edge of known reality. For 1,000 years humanity survived in silence." The alien delegates looked at each other, unable to process what they were hearing. A lost species did not die. It escaped beyond reality itself, but... Then the council leader asked the question everyone feared. "If you survived in hiding for 1,000 years, then why return now?" The human turned slightly toward the central hologram where deep space alerts were still active. "Because the Forgotten War is not forgotten anymore. The enemy has started moving again, and this time, it is not looking for us. It is looking for all of you." Galactic Meeting Hall was no longer calm. The moment the human finished speaking, the entire structure felt different, as if the space itself had become heavier. Alien delegates were still processing the words. "The enemy is not looking for us anymore. It is looking for all of you." Fear spread slowly through every section of the hall. Some species activated defensive shields. Some tried to contact their home worlds. Some simply froze without movement. The council leader raised his voice asking for clarity, but his tone was no longer strong like before. It carried uncertainty. Every record of this enemy was scattered and broken, most of it lost during the Forgotten War era. Only warnings remained in old corrupted data cores. The human stood still in the center docking zone, calm and unmoving while thousands of alien eyes focused on him. Then he raised his hand and a small holographic signal appeared above it. It was not bright or colorful like normal galactic tech. It was dark and shifting like a shadow trying to form itself into meaning. The human spoke in a steady voice. "This is the signal we detected again after 1,000 years. The aliens leaned forward as their systems tried to analyze it, but every scan failed instantly. As if the signal refused to be understood, one scientist from an insect-like species screamed that the signal was rewriting their translation software in real time. Another delegate shouted that their memory core was showing unknown fragments of places that did not exist in any known galaxy map. Silence fell again. The human continued. "This signal appears only when the enemy is waking up again. When it moves between systems, reality around it begins to break slowly. Stars do not explode near it. They simply forget they were ever there." The hall erupted in panic after hearing this description. Many species activated emergency evacuation protocols, but there was nowhere to run inside the massive meeting structure in deep space. The human looked at them and continued speaking. 1,000 years ago, humanity faced this same pattern. We did not defeat it fully, we only slowed it down. That is why we left the galaxy, because staying would have meant extinction for everyone, including us. The council leader shouted, asking why humanity returned if escape was possible. The human turned slightly. "It is spreading through the galaxy like a silent wave, and this time it is stronger than before." The alien delegates started arguing loudly. Some demanded immediate war preparation. Others insisted it was impossible, and humans were creating fear to control the council. But then something happened that stopped all arguments. Instantly, the central hologram of the galactic meeting hall flickered. A new unknown signal appeared on every communication channel at the same time. It was identical to the one the human had shown, but now it was coming from multiple star systems at once. The hall security systems began to fail one by one. Translation networks broke down for a few seconds, then restarted with distorted output. Some alien species began seeing strange images in their mind, like distant worlds they had never visited. The council leader realized the truth slowly. This was not just information, this was infection at a galactic scale. The human stepped forward again and spoke in a lower tone. "Now you understand why we returned. We are not here as guests, we are here as the last response the galaxy has left." One alien general asked if humanity could stop it alone. The human paused for a moment, then answered, "We never said we could stop it alone. We said we survived it once. That survival is the only reason any of you are still alive today." The hall went completely silent after that statement. No one argued anymore. No one denied anything. Because deep inside every species present, a fear had already awakened. A fear that something ancient was returning. And this time there was no forgotten place left to hide. The Galactic Meeting Hall was no longer just a place of discussion. It had become a place of fear. After the human last words, a deep silence stayed in the air, like something heavy pressing on every mind. "We never said we could stop it alone. We said we survived it once." Those words kept repeating in every alien brain like an echo that refused to disappear. Then the situation changed again, slowly. At first it was small. A few lights in the hall flickered without reason. Then the central system started showing errors that should not exist. Security ships outside the meeting structure reported strange readings across multiple star lanes. The council leader, if the entire galactic network was starting to lose coordination. The human turned his head slightly and looked at the main holographic map of the galaxy. The map that showed thousands of star systems suddenly showed blank areas, not destroyed areas, not dark areas, but empty areas, like something had removed their existence from memory itself. A Scientists shouted that the database was corrupting, but the corruption was spreading faster than any known virus. The human spoke calmly. It has started. The alien delegates turned toward him. Instantly, one of them demanded to know what had started. The human answered without emotion. The return phase. The signal you detected is not just a message, it is a trigger for something that was sleeping outside. Normal space. The hall became louder again with panic, but this time it was mixed with confusion. Outside the massive structure floating in space, ships from different alien species started reporting the same issue. Navigation systems were losing coordinate. Stars that were clearly visible a moment ago were no longer appearing in their scans. It was as if reality was becoming unstable. The council leader ordered full defensive lockdown of the meeting hall, but the systems responded with delays, as if they were thinking before obeying. A young alien officer shouted that their sensors were showing impossible readings. Entire sectors of space were fading from long-range detection. The human walked slowly toward the central platform as everyone watched him carefully. Then he spoke again. This is what we warned about. The enemy does not arrive with explosions. It arrives with silence, and silence spreads faster than war. A loud alarm suddenly echoed through the hall. Multiple fleets outside were now reporting contact loss with nearby systems. Entire communication chains were breaking one after another. The alien delegates began to realize something terrifying. The enemy was not attacking the meeting hall directly. It was attacking everything around it at the same time. The council leader looked at the human and asked with visible fear, "If this is happening everywhere, then why are you here?" The human replied, "Because this place is the last stable anchor point in the entire local galaxy cluster. If it falls, there will be nothing left that remembers what reality used to be." Hall fell silent again. Then a sudden distortion appeared in the central hologram. A shape formed inside the static, not clear, not solid, just a presence trying to become visible. Several alien species collapsed mentally as their systems overloaded. Human immediately raised his voice for the first time. Do not look directly at it. But it was too late for some. Their sensors had already locked onto the signal, and now their minds were starting to echo something that did not belong to them. Council leader stepped back slowly. He finally understood this was not a normal enemy, not a war, not an invasion. It was something that replaced existence itself. And in that moment, for the first time in galactic history, the Council did not ask for proof anymore. They asked only one question: what do we do now? The galactic meeting hall was now under full emergency silence protocols, but silence no longer meant safety. It meant something worse was coming closer. The central hologram was still broken, showing that unstable presence inside the static distortion. Every alien in the hall could feel it now without looking at screens. It was not sound, it was not light. It was a feeling inside the mind, like something scratching at the edge of thought. The human stood at the center, watching the distortion carefully. His expression did not change, but his voice became sharper. "It is here," the council leader whispered slowly. "What is here?" The human answered with one sentence: "The part of the enemy that does not need space to exist." At that moment, every system in the hall collapsed for half a second. Not destroyed, just gone. Then it returned again, as if nothing had happened. Everyone felt the difference. Some alien delegates started bleeding from sensory overload. Some were unable to remember their own home star locations. Reality itself was becoming unstable around the meeting structure. Outside the hall, multiple fleets reported entire star systems disappearing from their long-range maps. Not exploding, not going dark, simply not existing in their records anymore. A senior alien commander shouted that this was impossible. Human turned toward him and spoke. "That is what we thought in the first cycle, before we learned the truth. The enemy is not a species, it is not a machine, it is a correction force. It removes anything that should not exist according to its unknown logic." The council leader asked slowly, "And what decides that logic?" The human paused. "No one knows." That was the moment fear turned into full panic across the hall, because Something that cannot be understood cannot be predicted, and something that cannot be predicted cannot be stopped. The hologram suddenly changed again. This time it showed multiple regions of space, turning blank one after another like pages being erased. From a book asterisk, a scientist screamed that 3 entire sectors had vanished from all navigation records in real time. Human continued speaking. When we first encountered it, we thought it was just a weapon left behind by an ancient civilization, but it was not built. It emerged like a natural law of the universe correcting itself. The council leader stepped back. Then why did it target humanity first? The human looked directly at him, because humanity asked questions. Questions create awareness. Awareness creates detection, and detection triggers correction asterisk. A deep silence fell again. Even the alarms stopped for a moment. It was as if the entire hall was waiting for something to happen. Then it happened. Central structure of the Galactic Meeting Hall started to tremble slightly, not physically breaking, but losing alignment with normal space. The edges of the hall began to flicker as if reality was struggling to keep it stable outside. The structure entire fleets reported they could no longer confirm the location of the meeting hall. It was slowly becoming untraceable. The council leaders shouted orders, but the communication systems were failing one by one. The human raised his voice. It has started correcting this location. We do not have much time. An alien admiral asked desperately, "Can we fight it?" The human answered without hesitation, "You cannot fight something that does not stay in one place long enough to target." Another delegate screamed, "Then how did humanity survive?" The human turned slowly asterisk. "We did not win. We learned how to hide inside reality gaps. We learned how to exist without being noticed by correction patterns. That is why we disappeared for 1,000 years. The hall fell into deep fear again, because now they understood humanity was not back to save them. Humanity was back because hiding was no longer working. The hologram suddenly showed a new message inside the distortion. It was not written in any known language, but every mind in the hall understood the meaning instantly. Error detected. Multiple civilizations observed correction process expanding. The council leader looked at the human with shaking eyes and asked the final question, "If it reaches full expansion, what happens to the galaxy?" The human answered quietly, "Then the galaxy will not be destroyed. It will simply never have existed in the first place." And for the first time, the entire Galactic Council understood true extinction. The Galactic Meeting Hall was fading, not breaking, not collapsing, but slowly losing its place in reality. Parts of the structure flickered like a weak signal trying to stay alive. Voices inside the hall echoed strangely, as if sound itself was forgetting where to go. The alien delegates were no longer arguing. No one was shouting anymore, because now they understood. This was not a war they could win with fleets or weapons. This was something that erased the idea of existence itself. The human stood at the center, completely still, as if waiting for the exact moment to act. Around him chaos continued, but his presence remained steady. The council leader looked at him and spoke with a tired voice. "If everything is being erased, then why are you not afraid?" The human looked at him calmly. "We were afraid 1,000 years ago. We were more afraid than any of you are now. We watched entire worlds disappear without sound. We saw stars vanish. While people were still looking at them, we felt reality change around us. But we learned something important. Fear does not stop correction, only adaptation does." The human slowly raised his hand and activated a small device. It did not glow like advanced alien technology. It did not produce loud energy waves. It was simple, almost invisible. But the moment it turned on, something changed inside the hall. The flickering slowed down. The distortion became weaker. For the first time since the signal appeared, reality felt slightly stable again. The alien delegates looked at the human with new attention. "What is that?" The human answered, "A reality anchor. We created it after centuries of failure. It does not stop the enemy. It only delays correction in a small area." The council leader stepped closer. "Then why not use it before?" The human replied, "Because it only works if someone stays inside the correction zone and keeps it active." The meaning of that answer spread slowly through the hall. Someone had to stay. Someone had to hold reality together while everything else escaped. The human continued. For 1,000 years, humanity survived by building these anchors across hidden regions. We moved from one safe point to another. We lived between moments of existence. We became something the correction could not easily detect. The alien delegates were listening carefully now. Not with fear, but with growing realization. Humans did not survive by strength. They survived by refusing to disappear. The human looked around the hall. This is why we came back, because the anchors are failing. The correction has evolved. It is learning faster now, the council leader asked slowly. Then what can we do? The human paused, then spoke with quiet certainty. We stopped running. Silence filled the hall again. An alien commander shook his head. You said yourself we cannot fight it. The human nodded. Yes, we cannot fight it directly, but we can do something else. We can make ourselves impossible to erase confusion spread across the room. The human continued. The correction removes what it fully understands, so we change faster than it can understand. We adapt continuously. We break patterns. We refuse to stay predictable. That is how humanity survived. That is how we will fight now. The council leader looked at him. You are asking. At that moment, the structure shook again, stronger this time. Parts of the outer wall became transparent, showing raw space that did not look normal anymore. It looked empty. Not dark, just empty. The human activated more devices and placed them around the central platform. The distortion slowed again, but only slightly. He looked at the council. This is only temporary. The final phase is beginning. The council leader asked what final phase. The human looked directly at him. The moment when the correction stops testing and starts removing everything at once. Silence returned one last time, because everyone understood there would be no second chance after that. Only one decision left: adapt or never exist at all. The galactic meeting hall was barely holding together. Reality anchors placed by the humans were glowing faintly, trying to keep the structure from slipping out of existence. But everyone inside could feel it. Time was running out. The empty space outside the hall was spreading slowly. Not like darkness, but like something cleaner than space itself. Something that removed everything without leaving a trace. No stars, no light, no memory. Just nothing. Inside the hall, thousands of alien species stood together, no longer divided by power or history. For the first time, the galaxy was united by one truth. They were all about to disappear. The council leader looked at the human and spoke quietly. If this is the end, then tell us one thing. Why did humanity come back knowing this would happen? The human leader stepped forward for the last time. His voice was calm, but carried weight across the silent hall. Because this is not the end. This is the point where we stop surviving and start changing the rules. The alien delegates did not fully understand, but they listened carefully. The human raised his hand and activated the final sequence on his device. Every reality anchor in the hall responded instantly. Then something unexpected happened instead. Several aliens panicked, thinking humanity had made a mistake. But the human did not stop. He spoke again. For 1,000 years, we tried to hide from correction. We tried to stay unnoticed. We tried to survive inside small safe spaces. But survival was never the solution. The correction always finds what exists. So we asked a different question. What if we stop existing in a way it understands? The hall became completely silent. The human continued. We learned that the correction removes patterns. It erases what follows rules. So we removed our own rules. We changed our biology. We changed our technology. We changed the way we exist. We became something unstable, something unpredictable, something that cannot be fully defined. The council leader whispered slowly. You made yourselves an error. The human looked at him. Yes, and now we will do the same for the galaxy. At that moment, the anchors released a powerful silent wave across the entire structure. It passed through every alien present, not hurting them, but changing something deep inside their existence. Memories shifted slightly. Thought patterns changed. Biological Signals became irregular, not broken, just different. The empty space reached the edge of the hall. For a moment it touched the structure, and everything froze. This was the final test. Would the correction erase them or fail to understand them? Seconds. Felt like forever. Then something impossible happened. The empty space stopped. It did not move forward. It did not erase the hall. It simply paused, as if it could not decide what it was looking at. The human lowered his hand slowly for the first time. His calm expression showed a small sign of emotion, not fear, not relief, but certainty. The correction had failed to process them. Across the galaxy, the same effect began to spread. Species that were once predictable became unstable, systems that followed. Clear rules became chaotic, not destroyed, but no longer easy to understand. The correction signal weakened, not gone but confused. The council leader looked around in disbelief. Stars were no longer disappearing. The empty regions stopped expanding. Reality was still unstable, but it was no longer being erased. He looked at the human and asked, "What are we now?" The human answered quietly, "You are no longer part of a system that can be corrected. You are something new, something that chooses to exist." Silence filled the hall one last time. But this silence was different. It was not fear, it was realization. Humanity was never the strongest species. It was never the most advanced. But it was the only one that refused to follow limits set by the universe itself. 1,000 years ago, humans were declared extinct. But the truth was far greater. They did not disappear. They evolved beyond definition, and in doing so, they saved the galaxy. Not by fighting, not by winning, but by becoming something that could never be erased.